We got a pretty notable update today when it comes to the Dodgers starting rotation and what it means for the first month of the season, or at least until Shohei Ohtani returns to the mound. But before we get to all that news, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are you're a Dodgers fan, so make sure to subscribe for great Dodgers videos all spring long. With Shohei Ohtani expecting to join the Dodgers rotation at some point in 2025, the expectation has been the Dodgers are going to implement a six-man rotation. Now, that makes a lot of sense because Shohei, Roki Sasaki, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, you want them having extra rest as opposed to the normal 5-day rotation. And we kind of all just expected the Dodgers to open this season with a six-man rotation despite Shohei Ohtani not being there to start the year. Well, today when speaking with reporters, Andrew Friedman said he expects the Dodgers to go with the traditional 5-man rotation until Shohei Ohtani is back before going to a 6-man rotation. So that would mean an 8-man bullpen. Now, this was something I didn't really give a lot of thought to prior to today. I just assumed, kind of like many, that the Dodgers would begin the season with the 6-man rotation, and by doing so, they would have a 7-man bullpen until Shohei Ohtani returns. But by going this route with the 5-man rotation, this really strengthens the Dodgers bullpen by essentially giving them one extra reliever. Because as you know, once Shohei Ohtani returns, he's technically a two-way player, so you can have a 6-man rotation while also having an 8-man bullpen. But until Shohei returns, you don't have that luxury. So it wouldn't make sense for the Dodgers to have one less arm in the bullpen for the first month or so this way it gives them a full and complete bullpen. Now, just like you, I was really interested as to how this would work, so I went and I looked at the first month of the regular season for the Dodgers. They kick off the regular season with 3 straight games, but then they have an off day on March 30th. Then when you go to April, they have another off day on April 3rd. There's a trend here as they have every Thursday off in April. They don't play on April 3rd, April 10th, April 17th, and April 24th. So by having an off day every Thursday, this is going to make things that much easier for the starting rotation. Now, to help with this graphic, I started out on March 27th with Blake Snell, as I have him being the Dodgers' #1 starter. I have Tyler Glasnow as the #2, Yoshinobu Yamamoto as the #3, Roki Sasaki as the #4, and for the sake of this video, I have Tony Gonsolin as the #5. Now, from March 27th through April 30th, I just put these 5 starters in order on how they would go based on the rotation. Now, for the most part, things are going to work out pretty well. Now, there are a couple instances where Roki Sasaki and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, they would be going on 4 days rest, which is something I don't think the Dodgers want to do, especially in April. So if I were to guess, I think the Dodgers are going to get creative like they've done in years past, where instead of Yamamoto or Sasaki going on 4 days rest, they'll make that a bullpen game, or they'll have a guy like Dustin May, Landon Knack, Ben Kasparius, Michael Grove, one of those guys, they'll have them start, go a couple of innings, and then turn things over to the bullpen. The Dodgers are probably going to have to do that a couple of times in April, but again, using a 5-man rotation for the first month, it's not as bad as you think, and I think the Dodgers are going to be able to make this work out pretty well. Now, once you get to May, that's where things get extremely difficult. The Dodgers have May 1st off, but after that, they have 10 consecutive games. They then have a day off on Monday, May 12th, but then they have 9 consecutive games. They then have back-to-back Thursdays with days off, but yeah, that early stretch in May where they have 19 games in 20 days, I don't know how things are going to work out there. Now, obviously, if Shohei Ohtani is back and ready to enter the starting rotation by this point, you're going to have a 6-man rotation and everything's going to be fine. But if Shohei Ohtani isn't ready to come back at this point, I'm not necessarily certain how the Dodgers are going to make a 5-man rotation work with essentially 1 day off over a 3-week stretch. If Ohtani isn't back just yet, they're probably going to have to do more bullpen games, which is going to hurt the bullpen over that run. You don't want to go to a 6-man rotation because at that point, you'd have only a 7-man bullpen, and if you're playing 8, 9, 10 consecutive games in a row, you want to make sure your bullpen is as fresh as it can be. So again, if Shohei Ohtani isn't back by early May, things are going to get really, really interesting, potentially a little complicated for the Dodgers starting rotation. So I guess we'll see how that all plays itself out. Something else that was pretty notable from reporters this morning is that the #5 spot in camp is likely going to be a competition between Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin. Now, I do find this a little bit interesting because notice that Bobby Miller, his name wasn't included in this. As of right now, it looks like that 5th and final spot is between Tony Gonsolin and Dustin May. Now, if I were to guess, it's only February 14th. There's still a lot of spring that needs to happen. I think Tony Gonsolin, I think he's going to get that 5th and final spot. And I think entering spring training, it's actually Tony Gonsolin's spot to lose. Tony Gonsolin has proven to be the better starter over the course of his career. Now, he is coming off a pretty intense injury, but I do think this is his spot to lose. With Dustin May, he could very well earn the spot, but I think with Dustin May, especially considering the Dodgers might be starting the season down Evan Phillips, down Michael Kopech, I think having Dustin May in the bullpen is a smart move. And I think moving forward, that's just the smarter move for Dustin May and for the Dodgers. Now, while Dustin May's stuff is probably near the top when it comes to pitchers in the Dodgers rotation, I just don't think he's durable. I don't think he's going to last a full season as a starter. And I honestly think with Dustin May's stuff and his pitches, I think he'd be a weapon out of the bullpen. I think he'd be an insanely valuable piece. I'm not sure where the Dodgers currently stand on that, wanting to use him in the bullpen, whether it's for 1 inning or whether it's like a Michael Grove type role where he can go 2 to 3 innings. I think Dustin May would benefit by being in the bullpen. So to start the season, you'd have Tony Gonsolin as your number 5 starter. You'd have Dustin May coming out of the bullpen. And for Bobby Miller, it probably means he's going to be starting the season in AAA. As you guys remember, Bobby Miller was fantastic in 2023 when he was a rookie, but in 2024, when he pitched, he was arguably the worst starting pitcher in all of baseball. Now, I'm not quite certain what went wrong for him last year, but I do feel confident enough that Bobby Miller can bounce back and be the 2023 pitcher we saw a couple years ago. Like I said though, I think he's down behind Gonsolin and May, so in order for Bobby Miller to potentially win that 5th and final spot, I think he would have to be lights out, and I think he'd have to be insanely better than Tony Gonsolin or Dustin May this spring. Now, that's not saying that's impossible. There is a scenario where Bobby Miller comes out, he dominates this spring, he looks the part, and the Dodgers feel confident enough to make him the number 5 starter. Because if the Dodgers do that, if Bobby Miller proves that he's worthy of being in the starting rotation, you could have Tony Gonsolin and Dustin May in the bullpen as well. You could have Tony Gonsolin playing the Michael Grove role, where he can come in, pitch a couple of innings, whether the Dodgers are winning by a lot, whether they're trailing by a lot, or whether you want to do a bullpen game with this. With Bobby Miller, you're not necessarily going to use him out of the bullpen, so it's either he's the number 5 starter in your rotation, or he begins the season in AAA, and he's down there until you need a starter. There are a lot of different outcomes that can happen with this, but as of right now, that's my guess. Tony Gonsolin's the number 5 starter, Dustin May opens the season in the bullpen, and Bobby Miller, he opens the season in AAA. But I'm very excited to see how those 3 pitchers look over the course of spring. Before we get to the rest of today's video, you can help support me and my channel by becoming a subscriber over on my Substack page. For $5 a month, you'll have access to all of my articles. Plus, you'll get some pretty cool perks and benefits as well. One of the favorite perks among my subscribers is access to a Dodgers Twitter group chat that is filled with me and lots of other passionate Dodgers fans. Talk about the latest news and games with me and a lot of other fans who share the same passion for the Dodgers as you do. Everything I do is independent, so if you'd like to help me continue to post on X, YouTube, and Substack, you can become a subscriber for as little as $5 a month. One final piece of news, we heard from Clayton Kershaw yesterday after the signing was made official, and it actually looks like he's going to be returning to the mound a lot earlier than I was expecting. All offseason, my prediction has been that Clayton Kershaw would start the season on the 60-day IL, but he probably wouldn't be ready until the midway point, maybe like until after the All-Star break. Well, he spoke with reporters, telling them he is going to begin the season on the 60-day IL, but it looks like, according to him, right when he's able to come off the 60-day IL, he's potentially going to be ready to join the starting rotation. Now, because the Dodgers opened the season a little bit earlier, he'll be eligible to come off the 60-day IL right in the middle of May. If all goes according to plan and Kershaw's able to return the middle or end of May, that's going to be a huge boost for the Dodgers and for their starting rotation, because then right there, you have your 6 guys in the rotation. Now, obviously, I'll believe it when I see it. There's a lot that can happen between now and the next couple of months, but hearing Kershaw say he's expecting to return the middle endish of May, that's an encouraging sign, because I was off. I didn't think we'd be seeing him until at least July. Well, that wraps it up for today's video. What are your thoughts on the Dodgers going with a 5-man rotation to begin the season? Do you think it's smart, or do you think the 6-man rotation is the better call to begin the season? Also, who do you think is going to win that 5th and final spot between Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May, and Bobby Miller? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys haven't done so yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're a Dodgers fan, this is definitely the place for you. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that confusing YouTube algorithm that nobody understands, and it helps share this video and my channel with other Dodgers fans as well. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all in my next video.